Hey everybody, welcome to another Roger That, where last week I was also inconsistent and we're back at the inconsistency. So if there's one thing I'm good at, is being inconsistent. But today, thank you guys for tuning in again, man. You guys are amazing. Last episode was the shit. I talked about how I woke up at the Comedy Store. Not sure if you heard about that.
No.
Yeah, but long story short, Halloween night I was so drunk at the store, and then I was charging my phone in the back patio, and then I was just waiting till somebody woke me up, and nobody did.
Woke you up? So you just spent the night there?
Yeah, I woke up at like 5, and then I checked Ubers, and they were like $50.
Man.
So then I just slept in the OR, like in the back.
Yeah.
And then I woke up to like the Mexican cleaner. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I was like, "I can't believe it. I fell asleep here." He's like, "The whole night?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. Why do you think I'm here?" And then he was like, "You want to go out to the front?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'd appreciate that."
Yeah. Man, that's
so
crazy.
Yeah, that was cool, man.
Were you there for anything in particular, or were you just hanging out?
No, I went to the Palladium, and then I walked like 3 miles drunk to the Comedy Store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you have a good night.
Yeah, how's your Halloween?
Wait,
my bad, bro. I forgot to introduce you. Yo, man. Yeah, see, I'm a shitty ass host, man. Yo, we have Zero Rimpson in the motherfucking house.
Thanks
for being
having me.
Hell yeah, bro.
First podcast I've ever been on, not including the one that me and Jerome tried to start a while back.
Hey.
It kind of fell off because life happens, and so we're thinking about getting back on that here in a little bit, but I got to relink up with him.
Oh man, that's I understand it exactly, because when I started a podcast before this, nobody knows really. Like, I started with my homie like 2 years ago, and then we did like 3 episodes, and it was just like super inconsistent with us being able to like match our schedules.
Yeah, it's crazy. You really don't think about that kind of thing until you're like trying to make something, and then it's like, oh, you work in the day and I work in the night, and you gotta find this little window. It's like, when's your day? Oh, well, you're spending it with your girl. Okay, all right. Well, what about the holidays with family? Okay, it's like it's just rough sometimes. That's why I both. Because that's the thing, when you have somebody to do stuff with, it's always like a little bit easier, because like it's like it halves the load or whatever. Like if you're doing a podcast, it's like, oh, I can talk to you, you talk to me. It's just a back and forth. But when you're doing stuff solo, you have to like, oh, it's all me. I have I don't have to work with anybody else. I can just do my thing. Like when you do the podcast by yourself, it's easier to just do it, because it's just you. You're just like, oh, okay, just record myself and then I'll put it down. But then trying to get other people to be like, all right, when are you free? When can you get over here? And all that stuff is just, it's all interesting. But you learn and figure out the process and all that stuff.
Definitely, man. Yo, Zero, you're a badass comedian, bro. What's your Instagram handle so they can follow you?
My Instagram is _KRANIME. That's zero spelled out like ZERO _KRANIME. It's _Cranime. Because my legal name is Chris Rimpson, and those are my initials. And when I was little, I liked anime, and I still do. Recently, I go through like circles of sometimes I'm like really into it, and other times I'm like, it's fine. It's such an investment, like any TV show.
Bro,
like, when you lock in, it's like there are certain shows that I want to get around to watching, but I can't bring myself to start, because I know I'll probably really like it, but that'll be like a portion of my life.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people that I recommend the anime One Piece to.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a especially like as far as it is in now. Like even the show is in like the 400s of episodes, right?
Shit, is it? I forget, man. I just know they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Like they go hard. Like
they go
most
so
animes
hard.
go for like a long time.
Yeah, like, One Piece has been going on for 20 years now. Or no, a little over 20 years, I believe.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
Especially because Naruto just ended, and a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, and then it picked up. It picked up, right? Like Naruto came back. Like we're like
they have like a spinoff where it's like his son.
Yeah, right.
From what I've seen, it's not as good, and I don't really watch. Again, that's where I felt like that's the thing. I used to be really heavy into it in middle school. Started fading out in high school. By the time college hit, I had my main 3, and then those started ending. And then by the time those ended, I was like, okay, I'm kind of over it. But then I would like jump back in on little things, and so some of them would hit and others won't. Like right now, one of my favorite ones is One Punch Man, because it feels like an anime making fun of animes.
That was a classic, bro.
Oh,
that was a notorious classic.
Like, and especially I like the fight animation style, which is always how they get me. As soon as you show me a great fight scene, then I'm like, all right, let's see how we got here, and then I start watching it from the beginning. Like right now, I'm on My Hero Academia because of that exact reason, and I'm already down the rabbit hole. Like I'm halfway through season 2, and I started yesterday, and it's just
damn, it's like fucking beast, bro.
Yeah, you just get into a show or whatever.
When the show's that good, I can totally see it, man. I fucking binged The Wire. Not just like...
Oh, I started... Me and my friend started The Wire, too. And, like, season 1, we chopped through. Season 2, is kind of getting kind of slow. Yeah. We took a break because, once again, he started... It was one of those things where, like, you also agree to, like... hang out with a friend and like it's the same thing as like having the
podcast
working together thing. Yeah, it's like when you decide to watch a show together, you kind of feel guilty about watching the show without the other person. Yeah, and it's like, but I really want to know what happens next, and you're like never free. It's like
that
so
sucks,
we kind of had a little bit of a falling out as far as keeping up with that. But man, it's crazy how many like heavy hitters came from that show. Like, as far as, like, acting people.
Oh, yeah, fucking Idris Elba, bro. Fucking Stringer.
What's his name? He's, like, everything. He's a muscle dude. Everybody thinks he's really handsome.
What?
He's the new Rocky kid.
Fuck, I don't know.
I'm blanking on his
name. Not Omar,
somewhere.
right?
No, not Omar. But Omar is also an OG.
Yeah, he was in, I saw him in, what's that one show? Community?
Yeah. Where he played like a substitute teacher for a while.
Yeah.
Well, the Community is a great show, by the way, too.
I've only seen a few episodes, but like people, when I go to like people's houses, they have like fucking
the DVD set.
Yeah, like fucking a lot of DVDs.
It's such a weirdly cult. Like it's weirdly like the fan base. Like if you actually sit down and watch the show, I rarely run into a person that doesn't like that show, but. It's hard to make yourself sit down and watch because it's so like, it's a sleeper comedy. It's like, it's fine. And those first like 2 episodes are like, okay, I get it. But then like it really picks up and it starts getting really niche. Like the creator of that show went on to write Rick and Morty. Like
Dan Harmon?
Yeah, Dan Harmon.
Damn, that's the shit.
Yeah, he's like pound for pound. There's like only a couple things that he's made that I'm like not about. But most of the stuff he puts his hand in, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, the new Rick and Mortys have been amazing.
Yeah. Are you up on it?
Yeah, I just fucking binged like Rick. We just got Hulu at the crib, so yeah, Rick and they got the whole monopoly on that Rick and Morty. So
yeah, Rick and Morty is a great show. I love what they do with like their existential, more like the morality lines that they ride, where it's like, yeah, this is technically bad, but he's like it's kind of you're forced into a situation, or is it even bad? Like it's bad by this culture standards, but by this culture standards, it's not.
It's like I just watched the episode that you might be referencing, The Purge.
Yeah.
Like not to spoil it at all, but it's just like everybody knows about the synopsis for the movie The Purge. It's basically the same thing in the Rick and Morty world. And it's dope as fuck because they're just murdering people the whole night.
They go to Purge.
Not to say murdering people is cool, but like the people that deserve it, you know, because they were trying to kill them.
Yeah. It's like, how do you think you would handle a Purge situation?
Oh my motherfucking god! What a question, bro.
A Purge plan?
Damn, man.
Because I feel like everybody has a zombie plan.
Yeah,
but do you have a Purge plan?
Fuck, man. I guess, like, if it just was sprung up on all of us, like, yo, today's, like, that would be so terrible, man. Because I would at least want a cave where, like, that goes underground, like, 50 miles.
Yeah, I would need some prep time for real. Like,
hella prep time.
But then, there's a couple things that I have in my favor. One is, I don't have anything anybody wants. If I feel like when the Purge happens, everybody's heading to go, like, to rich neighborhoods to go get people and money and all that stuff, or like into like Walmart or Target to steal stuff. Like I'm just gonna stay in my 2-bedroom apartment and hope that my roommates don't lose it. And then I'll just chill. And hopefully we all have an agreement that we don't kill each other, and then we'll be chill. But because I don't see anybody being like, I'm gonna go out of my way to specifically hit
target.
I don't think I have enemies like that, but that's exactly how you get got by your enemies. It's like,
that's true, but
like you don't think you have anybody following you, but then you do.
In a Purge scenario, like there just be some wackos that are like, "Yo, let's throw this stool through the window," and then they're like, "Oh, Zero!"
That's
and then
a person.
Like,
fuck! Out in that person's life because I saw them. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I would just shut myself into my room in a closet and just pray that nobody messes with my apartment complex.
Bro, those realities are so fucked up because like it highlights that only the rich people really get to like enjoy a purge because then they're not really doing anything for the purge because like all year round they're really. I'm sure they're still having like other people kill for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like they have. I like the one. I didn't watch it, but I like the idea of the one with the political agendas because that felt very real to me. Like the idea that like there was one that's like, oh, the purge is about to start, and they were also having like a presidential election or some sort of election that was important, and so a bunch of other political people hired people to kill the candidate that they were running against. And so it was about that candidate trying to survive the whole purge against all these people who are essentially mercenaries after them.
That's a cool ass. Like, is that Purge 2 or something?
I think it's. I'm trying to remember the lineup.
I've never seen any purges.
Me either.
Oh shit! But that's a bad. I love that kind of like synopsis.
I know one is like the first purge. Then I want to say it's 3. I think Purge 3 is the one with the political thing.
I was surprised those motherfuckers went for 3, man. But those movies make money.
Oh
bro.
yeah, because the concept is amazing. Like the idea of like all laws are turned off for a minute.
That's so scary, bro.
Like,
fuck that.
Oh yeah, no, it's horrifying. And
it's so scary.
I think most again, there's obviously even with laws that we have now, like people are crazy. So of course, if you turned off getting in trouble, there would be a bunch of stuff that would just go down. But at the same time, I just feel like there's a certain amount of like the problem with my problem with the purge idea is like you're supposed to live a whole 24 hours and not hold anybody accountable. Like don't be mad that your neighbor killed your girlfriend.
That's
like,
weird.
Just like you got to move on with your life. Like they didn't do that. Like I want to see the movie or just somebody address the like directly after the day after the purge. That somebody's just like walking around and they're like, "Hey, you really got my mom. You really that was crazy. You shot through the window." And like, yeah, I didn't even think I would hit anybody, and then I got her. That's crazy.
That'd be a crazy drama.
Thanks for your TV though.
Now, you look through your neighbor's window, they're watching your TV.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Gotta not be mad about it. Just plan until the next purge. But
that's fucking crazy. I would if it was like purge time, I'd get like the homies and then we'll go like ransack like a fucking weed store.
Yeah.
And then just take like pounds and pounds. No, a weed factory because then they got like pounds and pounds.
Yeah, you know what's weird? It's like because weed is weed, right? I could see everybody having that idea, but I just feel like the clientele that does weed is so chill that like everybody who has that idea would go, and then the person who owns the weed dispensary would be like, "Yeah, it's fine, whatever." I get it. Do your thing. And they're like, "I'd rather you didn't steal my product, but I also understand." So you do because they're always, at least from what I've heard, I've never been in a dispensary, but like it seems like they're always kind of like somebody had a joke about it. I can't remember who. It was somebody's like open mic kind of like open. It was like the idea that like they tell you to drink responsibly, and like when people are selling you alcohol, they usually have like limits and stuff on it. But when you go into like a weed dispensary place, they're like, "Yeah, here, just smoke that out. Yeah, do you? It's like try this one, try this one, try this one.
Try these
and
edibles."
Then, okay, now that you've tried everything, what do you want to buy? And like just as much as possible. Which I guess is a good business plan for them because it's kind of like the whole, not to take it to this extreme, but I'm going to. It's the don't get high on your own supply. Like it's kind of like if you can get them hooked on the free sample, then it's like you got them. Like who's gonna buy more weed? The person who came in sober and like has a set amount they were gonna get, or the person you smoked out and then you're like, so how much do you want?
Like, let me get double.
Yeah,
that shit was really good. I want to be this high for like twice as long.
Yeah, I think it's a great business. If they could somehow, wow, I'm dumb. That's what an edible is. I was about to say if they could somehow work in food.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
they mastered that game, brother.
Yeah,
They put that
that's
shit
the
in
entirety
everything.
of the market. Like my friend kind of messes in that department. He's still figuring out. He's still on the like base level, but like from what he says, like that's money. Like, which is a good. I will say that's one of the good things about the legalization of weed is like it really, like that's a economy stimulator. Like the amount of people, like that's become a whole industry. Like it's opened up a bunch of jobs. Like people are coming in busloads, spending amounts of money. Like it's a $1 billion industry. Like you know Weed Maps.
Yeah, I love Weed Maps, man.
Yeah,
that's the number one.
I just heard about this recently, and I'm like, that's amazing. That like that market has gotten so big that now there's a Google Maps type thing specifically for weed dispensaries.
What's crazy? What blew my mind was before, like I haven't been smoking weed that long. Well, in terms of like, my background, like everybody around me was smoking at like 14, 15.
That's interesting. You seem so professional at it. I know that's weird to say. I'm straight edge, just off the cuff. I don't smoke or drink, but like, everything I view about it is very like clean. So I still learn a lot. But like from how you smoke and how you interact with it and how I've seen you interact with it, I would have assumed you had like been doing it since
like
you were
fucking fifth grade.
Like always surrounded by it and just like had already. So you're fresh to like weed. Yeah,
I've been in the game like 7 years, which is like still a good chunk. That's why it probably seems like I've been at it for a little bit. But yeah, I started later in the game, and Weed Maps was around before legalization. Legalization was only like 2.5, 3 years ago now.
Really?
So I was using Weed Maps like before that shit was legal. And what blew my mind was that like...
That's interesting. Would it tell you where the plugs are?
It literally had the dispensary on there, and then it would be crazy to me because then you would have all these illegal dispensaries.
Yeah, I'm like that sounds like how you would get caught immediately.
A lot of them did, man. A lot of them by my like area on La Cienega by the 10 freeway.
That's interesting.
Yeah, bro. What's cool but not cool is like on Christmas Day, I went over to go buy some weed at like this local shop. Cool people. I love them so much, bro. Right. So I park in the back, and then I noticed that like all their shit smashed in, and I'm like, man, I'm not smoking weed on Christmas today.
Oh man, yeah, that sucks.
I think I just ended up going to a different dispensary though, because there's so many, man. Yeah. There's more dispensaries in the hood on Weed Maps than there is like now. Now there's more dispensaries that you can see on Weed Maps that are in the nicer parts of town, like Santa Monica, so on and so forth.
So it's like shifted.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. The whole
system. Which I guess makes sense because I mean that's one of the main quote unquote issues with the whole dynamic where it's like that was how do I put this, an economy within the hooded areas, and now that they made it legal, they're taking this thing that again a lot of minorities and people in those areas would get in trouble and like serious jail time for it, and they've made it into like, oh, it's legal now so we can do it, and so it's cool and chill, and like there's no punishment, and so they're just taking that money more out of those neighborhoods and kind of screwing the people over who had made it a business up to that point. Yeah, like bro. They just didn't do the paperwork, but at that point they had their customers, they had their blunt, they had their product. Like that is a like, and again, it's one of those things like I like respect it, even though I don't know that world at all. Like I don't know anything about the streets for real, because like when I grew up, I was born in it and around it, but I was too young for it to get in. And so then my mom took me out of that situation and put me in a better one. And then from that situation, I grew up about till middle school, and then she took me out of that situation and put me in an even better one. So like what I grew up in was mostly like it did have some rough areas. There were some people. I still got my public school. Everybody, it's a melting pot. That whole thing. You had kids who were doing really well. Then there were kids who were doing really bad, and the whole spectrum. But like way less kids were doing like really bad. And so that's the area that I grew up in. And so that was my lifestyle, but it's still, I kind of had a vague reference from memory. Like when I was really, really young, there definitely was a time where when I was really young, my aunt, I was staying with her in the hooded area, and they had us go back to her room, and like with her friend, she was holding us because somebody was trying to break in, and like my aunt had to go get a gun, and she had a whole confrontation with them out in front of her house. And then they left. Somehow she ended up talking them down without anything going down. Yeah. But like that was a moment I remember I also remember another thing at my aunt's house that was like, we found her gun and my stepbrother was being really dumb with it.
Oh my God.
It was a whole situation. But, so like that's the closest I came to is like all the like little kid versions of it. Like I saw hints of drug things going on. You know that thing where you like have a flashback and you're like, oh, that's what that was? Like you start, like I always went on my dad's side. It was also kind of like that. Like I always smelled weed. I was always around weed and I didn't know it because I was a kid. And it wasn't until I was an adult later, like in high school, and I was at a concert and I was like, this smell is, I know this smell. And my friend's like, that's just weed. I'm like, oh, that's what that is. I just thought the adults like smelled weird, but it's like, yeah, it was like, always around. But
that's cool as fuck, man. So you never smoked weed in your life? Is that what we're saying? Where did you grow up?
I grew up Kansas City, Missouri. Specifically Raytown, Missouri. Wow. And Raytown is, like I said, it's like a melting pot between like, it can be really rough, but it can also be really good. And good is a bad word, but like it can also be very affluent.
Yeah, it can be well-to-do.
One of the parts that I grew up in was like a little. I always call it upper middle class, but it's not really. Like it looked like we had money. Like our house was nice, and we could go on vacations, and we had cars.
Party time.
But like, yeah, but like,
I like that. Yeah,
it was always like because my mom was good at budgeting. And she worked for the government at the time before the government started like being really trapped. yeah. USA. Where the government was treating everybody okay, and it wasn't shutting down every couple of seconds. But like, yeah, so that was my youth, and then then I moved out here.
Where'd you move
California, out here? 3 years ago, and now I live in Pomona. I thought it was 4 until my roommate was like, no. And I was like, because time always feels so much longer. But like, 3 years ago, I moved out to Pomona, and I've been out here ever since. And I really like it in some regards. In other regards, I'm like, I never considered myself a hometown person. But ever since I moved out here, it was really weird. I moved out here. At first, I was like, oh, it's kind of just like Missouri, but like a little different. There are palm trees. It's like nice all the time. And then people were like a little bit different. But I didn't notice the difference too much until I went back to Missouri just to visit my family. And while I was with them, I was like, oh, right. I forgot that's what this is like. And it was this like, then I came back to California and it was like, okay, that's the difference.
What's the difference? Like, what would you say?
If I'm going culturally, for me, first, one of the bigger things for me is I'm taller here. Like, in California, I'm like average height, or like I'm sometimes taller than most. In Missouri, I'm short.
Wow.
Which is weird to say because I never viewed myself as like a short person. I'm not like, oh man, I'm so short. Like for context, I'm 5'8", which is still
that's like you're like in where I'm from in Mexico, like 5'6" for men is like average. So being anything above 5'6", you're a little above average, which is definitely not short. But then Missouri motherfuckers must be like 6 some on the regular.
They're not like what I've seen from like Minnesota. They're not like Minnesota big.
Fucking
but like they're taller than me. I would say average 5'11", and so I came over here, and then so that's one. Two was there's a level of so Kansas City. I make the joke now that it's like small town in city form. So like it's a city, but it acts like a small town where like you'll run into people constantly. Like several times over. Like there were people who consistently I would see not working, just like I also go to Walmart and they also go to Walmart. And like we don't say anything, but it's like you recognize like I keep running into you, and like a part of me always had to think in my head is like, is the universe trying to tell me something? Like, but
maybe
like,
it is, bro.
It's one of those, and it's one of those things that make you think like, oh, that's how you get those mentalities, like how you get this like small town mentalities where like it is a lot more like it's spiritual and all that stuff is because you have those little moments that feel like a little bit more, but it's because you guys are so close knit, and because of the smallness, it's like a small big thing where it's like it is big, but you still will run into people a lot. So the communities are a little tighter.
Yeah, I was thinking that the community, there's like a community there, because like if you're seeing the same people over and over again, eventually you're gonna start saying like, "Hey, what's up? You know, how you doing? You know."
And you develop your own little circles and all that stuff. And not to say there aren't still people that you won't see for long periods of time, but it's not like here where like I've run into people and then I never see them again. Like I've run into people because, to be fair, I'm a club rat. Like I really love the club.
Hey,
I like it for all the reasons.
What are some of your favorite clubs in LA?
That's the thing. I actually don't really club in LA.
Wow,
mostly because like everything is money, and I just,
so where do you club?
I usually club. I rotate. So like I don't like to, because I club as hard as I do. I always go out Friday, Saturday, but I'm the worst type of customer for a club because I don't drink or smoke, and I also don't like to pay covers. So the way I do it is I always go pretty early, and then I just kind of chill until it starts popping, and then I do my thing. But in general, I rotate between Pomona, obviously, because it's close, Fullerton, Riverside, and sometimes, super rarely, I'll go to, not Red Tree, what is it called? Redlands. I'll go out to Redlands.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, and those are the 4 that I rotate, where I'll go like, okay, I hit Pomona this night, I hit Fullerton, like Friday, Pomona, Saturday, Fullerton. And then if I did that last week, then the next week I'll probably go Riverside, Pomona. And then next week I'll probably go like Riverside, Fullerton. Like I just
mix it up.
And like it really kind of, recently I've been kind of pushing into Laguna because it's close to my job, because that's how much of a rat I am about the club. Is I have to go into work sometimes I have to be at work clocked in at 5:30 in the morning on a Friday, Saturday. I'm sorry, on a Saturday or Sunday. So because I want a club, I'll still go out, but because clubs close at 2, I'll just leave from the club directly to my job, and then I'll just sleep in my car until it's time.
Damn, like, you fucking warrior, bro.
Everything about it is just like, I love that stuff. Like first of all, I'm a sucker for music and dancing. Like I like doing it. It makes me feel good. It's a fun time. But then the main reason, which is why every dude does everything, women are amazing, and I really enjoy them for
God bless them.
Everything that they
God
are.
Bless them.
Like I
everything
just the way they make me feel, even when they're not even like really about it. Like sometimes they're really about it. And that's the best case scenario. Best case scenario, find a girl who's down, and then you do your thing, and you move on with the night, and it's a great time. But even lower bar of that is like, there's a girl, and she's just vibing with you. Like, it's just like, just the vibe is there. Or like, just, she's cool as a friend. Like, just even that. There's something about the feminine energy that I can't get enough of. Like, I'm so obsessed with it in a way that's like, I've recently, and I have my bits about it, but like it's 100% like I know what it is. It's like I'm obsessed with it because on one layer I'm a straight man, so that's obvious. But the other layer is like I'm obsessed with it because I don't understand it, but I want to understand it. Like I don't get it, but I get it.
I get what you're saying, because the homie AJ Faji, he's like, we were at the comic store just talking. He was like, yeah, bro, I love the hunt. And that's exactly what you're fucking saying right now. Like you love like being like, even if it doesn't end up in like fucking, like you still love like just kidding with them, which is still part of the whole process.
Yeah, because and that's the thing. I think a lot of my obsession about it comes from the fact that, again, I don't. It doesn't, like, I'm not good at it. Like I'll do it a lot. I've gotten to the point that I'm okay. Like, because I'm a late bloomer. And so I didn't get my first kiss until I was like 20.
Get the fuck out of here.
So like,
when did you start fucking then?
I'm doing the abstinence thing. I had
a
lot of opportunity.
Wait, what?
Okay, so my thing.
No, you can't talk about clubbing and then say abstinence right after. Those two words do not go synonymous with each other.
So my thing is weird, and everything about me is like this. How do I put it? I'm trying to figure out where to start. Okay, I'll start with explaining why I'm doing abstinence. I'm doing the abstinence thing for 3 reasons.
Wait, how long have you been doing abstinence? That's the main question.
My whole life.
No, I'm about to leave my fucking own. I'm about to leave my own apartment just because this motherfucker broke my heart right now, bro.
No, you're gonna be
bro.
You're gonna be even more mad because
oh my god, what are you just fingering and fucking eating these girls out like in your dick suck after?
Not even.
I thought you were like fucking like you like because you were like, all right, we just vibing, that's cool, right? Yeah. But if it gets more like, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, Zero, get that pussy, bro, get that shit, fuck it up.
Yeah. See that my lines are still. I'm still figuring out where I start and stop with it. As far as I've ever gone for me is like fingering stuff. Like that's
the fuck.
But like,
Zero.
Because
you're not a zero. Come on, please.
Because, and again, it's like clearly if I'm at that point, I have the opportunities. I've had my few share of like really close ones. Like it'll be upsetting when I get to the part that I'm gonna say later because I've had a lot of opportunities.
Of course.
And I've decided a long time ago because once you get to 20 and you have that late bloom, it's kind of like. At first, so before I got to that point where I like late bloom finally started to kick into it, I had decided to be abstinent. But it's kind of like deciding to not drink or smoke when you're young. It's like you can say that, but until you're like actually tested and somebody's like, "Hey, do you wanna?" Then like you're not really doing it.
That's
so
true.
like I believed it. Then I got to 20 and started messing with this girl. She's super great. She's super awesome. Still one of my best friends. And I started to see that world. I started to see like, oh, that's how you get it. That's how it happens. It's like you get worked up. You're in it. Then I was like, but I still was able to go like, no, at this point, I have been doing it for so long that it's like at this point it has to mean something for me. And so that's when I clicked into like, no, this is what I'm doing. And so I already had my reasons. The classic reasons are like, the freaking health class of it, where it's like I just don't.
Boo!
I don't trust.
No. You wrap it up, man.
Right,
you wrap it up, bro. Like that Dave Chappelle skit. Wrap it up, bro.
Right.
But
and I understand the wrap it up method. I understand pulling out all the stuff, pills, whatnot. I really don't trust people like that.
Boo, like, Zero,
especially at the way that I'm doing it. Like,
oh
like
my
the way,
God, bro.
like I feel like most dudes can get away with that type of thing because they don't get as much. Like they can pull off doing that because there's not like if you like sleep with like 20 women in your lifetime, right? You can get off with being stupid because like the chances odds are very low.
But let me give you this, bro. My homie's, part of the gay community. He's down as fuck, bro. These orgies, he's getting fucked by like 6 dudes, and he's fucking like 7 other motherfuckers. But the point is that he's like on prep. Did they use condoms? Maybe not, probably. But look, the point is, you gotta have fun.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like again, everybody does their thing. I'm not gonna sit here and like try to put my lifestyle on everybody else because it's definitely not for everybody. Most people cannot do it. It's not for most people.
It's not for anybody, bro. It's not for humans, bro. We're like, man, look, here, bro. This is what we're here for, bro. This universe is nice and shit, Rick and Morty, all that good shit, right? Okay. We're literally our genetics are literally here to just pass on our genetics. We're only here to reproduce. That's it, bro. And look, I'm not saying reproduce when you're 18, bro. That's fucked up, man. You gotta live it up. Right. But if you do, fuck it. Then you have a child, and you love them so much, so it's a great thing too. So there's negative and positives to everything.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the nitty gritty. To fuck and pass on your seed. Yeah. So like, I get you're saying like it's not for everybody. It shouldn't be for anybody. Especially with how your ancestors worked hard to fuck. You know how long it took them to like get a little alone time together? They got like 12 kids, man.
I would say the opposite. I would say specifically my ancestors, like absolutely they were messing around. Like they had to.
Of course.
It's like the one thing you had. Like I think there was this great, somebody said it and it was great. It was like, the one thing you have, regardless of where you are in social standing, is that you could have sex. Is that like you could mess around.
Oh, what a great quote.
Like you could, like, regardless of how the economy is, like that's why prostitution has always been and always will be. Because like there's never a point where people don't want to feel good in that way. And again, it is a natural human body. Like again, I do agree with you to an extent. I do believe that we're on this earth, and obviously to keep the line going, obviously.
Keep it going, bro.
That's not what we're even talking about in this. Like,
yes,
you're not trying to reproduce with anybody right now.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like at 18, you reproduce when you want to. But the point is, that
I'm not saying I'm not ever gonna have sex. I'm saying abstinence, which is you just wait until you get the right girl, go down the aisle, do the thing, and then you have.
I know, but look, check this out. Check out the flip side. Look, how about like so you've messed around with a bunch of chicks, right? How about like one of the?
I don't want to make it sound like it's a huge.
But like no, but like the point is like how about like what if you fucked all of them, right? So that's very nice, hypothetical already.
Okay.
So
I like the hypothetical. I like this.
So what if you fuck all 10 of them, and then let's say by like the 9th one, you're like, man, this is the most bombest pussy I've ever had, and she is also the best person for me, right? Okay. So let's say you got to that point, but then in your situation, like you would get to like the 30th chick that you mess around with, and then that pussy and that vibe might not have been as good as like the 9th chick or the 10th chick in that previous hypothetical. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's an overestimation of what. Now again, to be fair, there's a virgin talking about it. So what do I?
This blows my fucking mind, bro.
At the same time, I feel like there's an overestimation of sex. There's this bar at which it's put to that like nothing else can compare to. Like there's nothing in this world that feels as good as that. I don't believe that at all.
But let me
also like that sex. People act like sex cannot be learned. Like there's a certain amount of like I'll give you chemistry. Absolutely. There's like a baseline. If you don't click with somebody, it's not going to work no matter how many books or movies you watch. No matter how much they tell you what they want. There's a certain baseline. But I think you can get that baseline off a kiss. Like once you kiss that person, you know if the chemistry is
let me tell you, that's a virgin talking, bro, because that breaks my heart, man. This is coming from somebody that lost his virginity at 13, man. So
I'm interested in that story.
Oh, yeah. So like basically we're all dry humping this one chick in the apartment complex, right? Like,
did you say we're all?
Yeah, so it'd be like 5 deep in my crib, right?
Oh,
I'm coming from the complete opposite of you. I was like dry humping like first grade, bro.
My first thought was like I thought you were doing like the royal we, like there are multiple there's like we, but like you mean actually it's like you and the homies and one girl.
Yeah, I mean we're not at the same time, we don't take turns.
So you're like one in the room and then
discretion.
So like a train thing.
It's a little bit,
okay.
But it's a wholesome train. It's only dry humping.
Listen, whatever you're doing, man. Okay, so wholesome train.
But the
13.
point is,
and then while you were doing that with the girl, you were like, bump it.
No, because we stopped dry humping at 13. That's when we started fucking. We were dry humping like way earlier than that. The point is that like, in reference to what you said about smoking weed, like you don't really get to like judge it at all if you're not really smoking. Yeah, so you're like, yo, I can still learn from like a kiss, but like you're trying to judge it like super hard into like how you can see fucking would be, and it's a little different, as I can tell. Like I started fucking at 13, man. I didn't start fucking the chick in the pussy till like 16, right?
Wait, hold on. Now that's a totally different story. Have you been over this on the podcast?
Let me tell you. Let's do this poll right now, listeners. You guys can.
What episode is this?
Episode 23.
Have you talked about this before on the podcast?
I might have, maybe.
But I'm very interested in
if people have seen me do stand up, like I haven't done this. I haven't talked about that since I was. No, I talked about it at the George Parrish podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
So people know what's up.
George Parrish.
Yeah, and then if you see me do stand-up, I haven't done that bit. I haven't talked about that shit on stage
for
like 2 years.
It.
Oh, man, I used to go in on that shit, bro. My first year and a half, bro. Because, like, I had this whole thing where, like, I already talked about Olive Garden because, like, my parents would leave to Olive Garden. Yeah. And I just stay home, and then she just come over, like, and then she was like, yo, you want to fuck me? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm like a kid, so I don't really know where, like,
how
exactly.
How old was she?
She was a year younger.
Okay.
So it's like, we grew up together, like, so we were like in kinder first, all that shit. Yeah. So basically, I just fucked in that. So here's a question for the fans.
Okay.
Leave your response in the comments
as
to this question. I'm gonna get a Zero's response right now,
okay.
But please leave your response. Did I technically lose my virginity at 13 when I fucked her in the ass? And did she lose her virginity technically when I fucked her in the ass at 13?
Okay.
Zero, what's your response?
My response? Yes. Absolutely. I think the moment you've been inside of a person, you lost your car.
Nah, because then what about fucking if she was like give me a blowjob, which she did later on, like a year later. But man, all teeth, it was the worst.
I think blowjobs are a technicality. Like technically, no. Like I don't think if you went into a room of anybody, nobody would say, "Oh, you got a blowjob? Yeah, you've lost it." Like nobody would say that. But I will 100% say the butt loophole is not a loophole. Like I think like if you're within centimeters, like you might as well. Like you're already there. That's just my opinion. I think that's a hard. You lost it at whenever you did that.
So you heard it here first, folks. Zero Rimpson things. If you got your ass fucked when you were a kid, you still lost your virginity.
I'm calling
and,
it. But also, the second question, just off that tangent.
Okay.
Are you an eat butt guy?
I'll be honest. I haven't had the most opportunity to eat ass. I mean, actually, I have.
You had the most opportunity?
No, I haven't had the most.
Oh, you have
only because like when I start, because I was with my ex for like 8 years, so we fucked like hundreds.
Really?
We fucked like hundreds of times, hundreds. So the point is, there was a few of those times.
About that, the reason I say,
that's crazy too, because you haven't fucked it. I fucked hundreds of times, bro.
Yeah.
But
to me, I was saying
amazing.
like on another tangent, like
yeah.
You didn't strike me as a relationship kind of guy.
Oh, I just got like to this. Like, you know, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. It was good while it lasted, but, like, over time, you know, you just fall out of love.
Yeah.
You know, and the main thing is that we usually give each other, like, enough of our own time to each other, which is, like, the main thing you got to give to somebody in a relationship. Like, you love them that much that you want to spend, like, a lot of this universal time we constructed being with them, right?
Was that your longest one, the 8-year one?
Fuck yeah, bro! I'm only like 25, bro. I started that shit when
I don't know.
We were dating when we were like 15. I was like a week from turning like 16.
Man,
and we broke up when I was like 24, which is I just turned 25 in May.
That's
we
crazy.
broke up in March.
Well, if you're fine to talk about,
I
don't know where the lines are.
No, there's no lines, bro.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then what was the final? What was the like? We gotta let this go. Was it you? Was it her? Was it a mutual?
Yeah, I have this poem I wrote. I like to share with you guys on the podcast in Zero right now. Roses are red, violets are blue. I left my girlfriend. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
So over time we just fell out of love. Really,
okay.
Like we started spending so much time together, and then we put like other priorities first. Like I started drinking again this year. That wasn't good for our relationship because I became like a drunk. So I just drank like because I didn't drink for like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, from like when I turned 21, basically, like in June, I turned 21 in May, and then in June some shit happened, then I stopped drinking for like 3 years. And then I started drinking, and then...
Was it like an event that made you stop drinking?
Oh, yeah, my grandma almost died, so I was like, God, man, if you can fucking help me out on this one. I just came to visit her after 7 years, and she's looking older than a motherfucker than from what I remember, so please, like, give me some more years with her, so... Yeah, I stopped drinking for those 3 years. I'm gonna go visit her in January. Nice. So thank God.
Were you raised by your grandma? Or
no,
you were close.
No. I got one cousin, one aunt, one uncle in the United States.
Oh.
In Los Angeles, like my mom and my uncle came out here like together. My dad has like no family out here. I have 20 some cousins in Mexico. I have like all these aunts and uncles in Mexico.
Yeah, that's how my dad's side of the family is. I have like a bunch of cousins, but I have not seen them in years, and I don't know who they are or where they are. I've gotten a lot of people adding me on Facebook recently, and the only reason I add them is because they have my last name, and I just assume we're cousins.
Of course, you gotta add family, bro, and they love to see you succeed. You know, they're like,
they're really like, considering we've never talked. A lot of them are like, "Hey, you do comedy? Like, I'd love to see a show." And I'm like, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. Like, listen, I'll take the support. But okay. So, thinking about visiting your grandma. That's why you stopped drinking originally.
Oh yeah, but then that's why
the breakup happened, and you. Right before the breakup, you started drinking again.
Like
what kind of got you back into the habit of drinking again?
Oh, I was wanting to do it.
Oh, you were just like
because when I was drinking, like I started drinking at like 16, and then so by 21 I had been drinking for 5 years, but it was always like under the guise of like I still was living at home, and it was like I was always hanging out, but like I wanted to drink like. As much as I was smoking weed, like yo, if I'm like kicking it right now, it's 12. Like right now, I kind of pour myself a drink. So it's like 12 a.m. I'll keep the gravy train going. But the point is that like moments like these are what I wanted. Like if I want to have like a drink at like 12, like I'll do it. Yeah. And then, but what fucked me up is that I just started doing that consistently. And then I was only drinking like beer back then, like in the first like part of this year.
Right.
So it just made me super like a piece of shit in general. It just bloated me up to a piece of shit. And then I just spent a lot of my time either doing just focusing on comedy and drinking and hanging out with the homies.
Okay.
And then instead of like investing that quality time that you need to in a relationship.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, like because we were together for so long, like more fucking time needed to be put into our relationship. Right. Like that's just the like. Because when you start off like a fucking flame of like a phoenix, right? Right. It's amazing. And then it's up to you and her to keep that shit going. Right. But as you guys grow and progress in life, you have less and less time for each other.
Yeah, so you gotta make that time.
You gotta make that time. And then that time always coincided with me having to do stand-up. Mm. So she would have this job, she'd go from da-da-da, and then literally as soon as she get home, I'd be gone, right? Yeah. And that works for like a married couple with kids because they have to support the kid. That's why like, my mom had that situation.
Okay.
But the point is that like it just wasn't working for us in our early age of life where like I want to spend like so much time with her.
Did she ever come to your comedy stuff?
Oh yeah, a few times she's been, but like it wasn't like I never really wanted her to be like every fucking open mic.
Yeah.
Fuck like, the open mic scene, bro. It's bullshit. Why would I invite my girlfriend to the open mic scene?
No, and I will say like that takes a very specific like if you have somebody in your life who's willing to watch you go to open mics over and over again.
Fuck that.
Like. Yo, I say lock that person down.
No, like, she was that kind of person.
Yeah, I'm like, you, like, because that's hard. Like, we're the ones doing it, and that's hard to make myself do. Like, be in that, especially, again,
I just didn't want that, though. You know why I don't want that, though? If a girl's coming with me to every open mic, that means she's got nothing going on herself. Like, I don't want... That's another thing. Like, I also wanted her...
Point. Yeah.
I want somebody that's fucking, like... Now I'm seeking, like... When I see, like, a chick that's fucking a singer, like, playing acoustic at, like, open mic, I'm like... Regardless of looks, she is fucking beautiful. Right. Because she's an artist, because she can do this with her voice and, play something.
Yeah, there is something about a woman who, like... has her own thing.
Like my ex was a fucking great photographer. Like I 100% believe one day if she wanted to, she can be a part of National Geographic. Oh. Like she's taking some of these like fucking photos and like the way she edits them, they look so fucking good, man. Yeah. But like even at that, like it's still like depending on like if she were gonna hang out, she would be recording me, like which I would be super cool and all that shit about. But there's something about stand up that's independent, man. You don't want somebody like. Everybody in stand-up is independent. We all come together at the open mic and we all say what's up and we're all a group, but in the end of the day, we're all our own motherfuckers. Yeah. And then you don't want like somebody at the wayside like that you have to introduce while you're like always kicking it with the homies. Yeah. And it becomes like a real drag. And then so if I'm not doing that with her, then the time we have together is like super fucked.
No, I totally get that. That's fair. That's so interesting. I
it was cool while it lasted though. It was really cool while it lasted.
Yeah. This is exactly why podcasts I have to, and this is a good learning lesson. I have to start doing these on days I have off because now I have to go. Like I'm looking at. I put my GPS to see how long it would take to get from here to work. I'm already 20 minutes late.
Holy shit, bro! We gotta get you going, bro. Zero, plug your shows right now. I appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much, man. You're the best, bro.
I appreciate it. All my stuff. Again, follow me on Instagram. I usually update, but this next week I'll be on at Flappers in Burbank. It's November 29th. Then January 11th I'll be at the Hideaway in Riverside, and then March 3rd I'll be in Ontario Improv. So come support your boy.
Tune in.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, plug your Instagram again so they can know what's up.
Instagram one more time is @0_KR anime. So @0_KRANIME.
All right, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Zero. You are the best, man. Thank you,
Much
bro.
appreciated.
Have a fucking great time at work.
Will do.